Thanks for staying with us on TV West. You are watching News Radar. I'm Victoria Ogudende. Here's what on the radar this hour. A bipartisan House group demands a probe into Osun election violence and deaths, including a viral video involving Senator Fadansi, as lawmakers question the effectiveness of security measures. APC's Bola Oyebamiji accepts Adeleke's victory, says he respects the electoral outcome, though he raises concerns over attacks on his supporters and says the party will reveal the results. Veteran actor Ogogo is battling stage 4 cancer. His daughters makes an emotional appeal for a hospital or specialist willing to take on his critical case as travel abroad is ruled out. And on the foreign scene, Trump threatens to bomb Oman if it interferes with U.S. dealings with Iran after Tehran announces a shipping understanding with Muscat, as the president says preventing Iran from getting nuclear weapons is top priority. We'll bring you the details of these stories and more very shortly. Now the news in full. A bipartisan group of House of Representative members has demanded a full investigation into the violence and deaths linked to Osun State's governorship election. The Safe Democracy Group warns that political competition must never justify the loss of Nigerian lives. In a statement, the lawmakers also called for a probe of a viral video allegedly showing Senator Francis Fadansi making comments interpreted as encouraging attacks on Accord Party members. They note that the police had earlier said they were investigating 30 suspected politically motivated killings before the election. Civil society groups reported dozens of violent incidents and several fatalities. The lawmakers questioned the effectiveness of the heavy security deployment and demand thorough investigations by the police, the Department of State Services, and the National Human Rights Commission. They insist that political leaders must be held accountable for statements capable of inflaming tension and that no one should enjoy immunity from the law. All Progressives Congress candidate Bola Oyebamiji has accepted the declaration of Governor Ademola Adeleke as winner of the Osun State governorship election. He breaks silence 4 days after the Independent National Electoral Commission announced the results. Adeleke of the Accord Party polled 511,067 votes, while Oyebamiji scored 444,815 votes. In a statement, Oyebamiji says that although his team had hoped for a different outcome, they respect the position of the electoral umpire. He supports his party's decision to reveal the results and consults its legal team on the next step. Oyebamiji expresses concern over alleged attacks on his supporters since the election and urges the police to intervene. He calls on his followers to remain calm and peaceful while continuing to work for the development of the states. The Osun State Police Command has warned individuals and groups against any attempt to forcefully take over the affairs of premises of local government areas in the state. The warning is contained in a statement by the Police Public Relations Officer, Abiodun Ojelabi, on behalf of the Commissioner of Police in charge of the election, Samuel Irale. The command says it has received reports of plans by some people to seize control of local government areas, even though the matter is already before the court. It describes such moves as self-help and a clear breach of the peace. Anyone who attempts to forcibly occupy or disrupt local government facilities will be arrested and prosecuted. The police urge parents, traditional rulers, political leaders, and other stakeholders to restrain their supporters. Commissioner Irale also congratulates Osun residents on the peaceful conduct of the governorship election and calls on everyone to remain calm while the judicial process runs its course. Petty traders and retailers of fast-moving consumer goods across the country are protesting the continued enforcement of the ban on alcoholic beverages in sachets and small containers below 20 cl. The traders say the National Agency for Food and Drug Administration and Control is confiscating their stock, crippling their businesses, and cutting off a major source of daily income. During the protest in Ibadan, Oyo State, the retailers appealed to President Bola Tinubu, the NAFDAC Director General, and lawmakers to consider their plight. Spokesperson for the concerned drink sellers, distributors and traders across Nigeria, Oluwatosin Adebisi, says many of the affected traders took bank loans to set up their businesses and should not be made to bear the full consequences of the policy. The traders insist they do not sell alcohol to minors and should not be held responsible for parental failure. NAFDAC Southwest Zonal official Isaac Kolawole assures the protesters that their concerns will be communicated to the Director General for consideration.
That is why we are here today. We want our KBAC to plead to the government to lift embargo on sachet, and we know that the government have right on anything, and that is why we are begging them. Other material are key more than alcoholic. I'm telling you, it's only that this alcoholic make people to stagger. Yes, that is why they put us on it. So as a result of, the government should try to look at many things that are affecting us, even affecting the young ones. Yes. So please let the government help us. Yes, and lift embargo on this sachet, because if you see the people that engage on this business, we are millions.
Is a misplaced priority. They should rather focus on other areas. NDLA, NAFDAC, they should come together, look for ways of all. If you look, according to the secretary has said, since 1973, there was no report of any illicit act with as far as Ogogoro is concerned. But it was the advent of these hard drugs that brought about, all these health problems we're having in the town now. Actually, if you look at cigarette now, they came out with all sort of things, all campaign against smoking. Which, if they want to do the same thing, they can approach all these manufacturers. They can talk, okay, smoking is not good for drinking is not good for alcohol, is not good for your head, it's liable to whatever. They can come up with that. But presently, I can say it boldly, it has no negative effect. Even I don't know, sachet, if you take 20 of sachet, I take 20 sachets in a day, it doesn't have any effect in me. So why now clamoring that people should not, this thing is dangerous to health? It's not.
The Ogun State Waste Management Authority has sealed Quantum Packaging Nigeria Limited in Agbara. The paper processing company is located at Kilometer 7 Lusada Igbesa Road in Adodo, Ota local government area. It is short for operating an illegal dump site and burning waste in the open. These acts contravene the Ogwama Law 2020 and the Ogun State Environmental and Public Health Law 2006. Managing Director Farouk Akitunde says the company was earlier warned after the inspection. Surveillance later revealed a large dump site near the factory where waste was being burned. Akitunde says the open burning posed serious health risk to residents, including the risk of cancer. The company will remain sealed until it shuts the dump sites and submits a remediation plan. Police in Ondo State have taken a man into custody in connection with the death of his mother. Samuel Akwade is alleged to have attacked Mrs. Olufunke Akwade with a machete at their residence in the power line area of Ore Odigbo local government area. The attack happens on Sunday afternoon. The woman is later found dead with severe cuts. Officers from the Ore division secured the scene and recovered a machete believed to have been used in the household. The suspect flees after the incident but is eventually tracked down and arrested. His mother's body has been taken to a mortuary. The investigation has been moved to the State Criminal Investigation Department in Akure. The State Commissioner of Police has ordered a full and careful inquiry into the circumstances of the deaths. The Minister of the Federal Capital Territory, Nyesom Wike, has ordered the immediate demolition of houses and structures built on designated water channels in Abuja. He issues the directive after inspecting areas affected by Saturday's flooding in the capital. Wike says every building found on a water channel will be brought down regardless of the status of the owner. He notes that some of the properties belong to senators and other influential people, but insists that political pressure will not stop the exercise. The minister gives the FCT Development Control Department until Saturday to complete the demolitions. He attributes the flooding to both natural factors such as climate change and heavy rainfall and human factors including construction on waterways and dumping of refuse in the drain. Wike directs the immediate discipline of blocking drainage systems and warning residents against converting green areas for unauthorized developments. Gunmen have killed 24 people and injured several others in an attack on Bimpa community in Mango local government area of Plateau State. The assault takes place between midnight on Monday and the early hours of Tuesday. Residents say the attackers moved from house to house, forcing their way into homes and attacking people who are asleep. 24 of the victims are given a mass burial on Tuesday. Several injured residents are receiving treatment in hospitals. Women from the community staged a peaceful protest, holding leaves as they march and demand urgent government action to protect their lives. The president of the Waguvu youth movement, Ye Sam Jonathan, condemns the killings and calls on the government and security agencies to secure vulnerable communities. Security operatives are deployed to the area to restore calm and prevent further attacks. You're watching News Radar on TVWest. We'll take a short break now and return with more news. Stay with us.
You are watching the test transmission of TVWest. Don't forget to follow and subscribe to our social media handle at TVWestNG across all social networks. Thanks for staying with us.
TV West. Reporting the West, inspiring progress.
Welcome back to News Radar on TV West. Now to the rest of the news. In business, the Federal Competition and Consumer Protection Commission has found indications of possible price manipulation in Nigeria's cement market. The preliminary findings follow a 3-month investigation by the Commission's Anti-Competitive Practices Department. Despite an installed production capacity of between 60 and 65 million metric tons a year and domestic demand of only 20 to 30 million tons, cement prices have continued to rise. A 50-kilogram bag that sold for between 9,300 naira and 9,700 naira in January reached between 13,000 and 15,000 naira in some parts of this country by July. Nigeria is also a net exporter of cement to neighboring countries. The Commission notes that prices in Kenya, Tanzania, and even Togo, which has no limestone deposits, are significantly lower. Manufacturers have blamed energy costs, naira depreciation, and logistics. The FCCPC is testing those explanations against verified data. It has issued notices of investigation and summons to key players in the highly concentrated industry. In entertainment, veteran Yoruba actor Azan Taiwo, popularly known as Ogogo, is battling stage 4 cancer. 2 of his daughters, Kira and Lima Taiwo, make separate emotional appeal for help. They say hospitals have refused to continue treating their father because of the severity of his condition. The family is not asking for money. They are searching for a hospital, specialist, or alternative treatment that is willing to take on the case. Senator Olamilekan Adeola, known as Yayi, has been paying the medical bills. The daughter says that he only became fully aware of how serious the illness was about 3 weeks ago. His stomach is now swollen and his condition is described as critical. Attempts to take him abroad have failed after doctors declared him unfit to travel.
He has cancer and it's really, really bad. And the hospitals are refusing to treat him. At least, please, give this man a chance. Nobody wants to do anything. Why not yet ask for money? Nobody's asking for money, but please, if you know somebody that knows somebody that can help. This man has a strong will to live. You see him, you can't even know that something is wrong that bad. It's just starting to show. We didn't even know until like 3 weeks ago. So please, I'm begging you, If we know somebody that knows somebody that will be willing to treat him, anything, we're willing to try anything. Please, we're not here to ask for money. Nobody's here to ask for money. My big uncle has helped Yayi. He has been of great help. Like, nobody even knew that he would show up for us this way. But if he's willing to do anything, but please, if you know somebody that knows somebody that will be willing to treat him, would really appreciate it. Please. I can't watch my daddy die. I can't.
And on the foreign scene, U.S. President Donald Trump threatens to bomb Oman if the country gets in the way of Washington's dealings with Iran. He makes the remark after Tehran announces it has reached an understanding with Muscat on a plan for ships to transit the Straits of Hormuz. Trump also calls on Iran to put up with a white flag of surrender. He says he has no time schedule for the conflict and is not in a hurry. In a social media post, the president states that preventing Iran from obtaining a nuclear weapon remains the #1 goal of the United States. The comment appears to contradict earlier remarks by Vice President J.D. Vance, who had listed lower fuel prices as the top priority. Iran says it has not decided to resume talks with the United States and continues to insist on its conditions for reopening the strategic waterway. Zambian President Hakainde Hichilema has been re-elected for a second 5-year term. The Electoral Commission of Zambia makes the announcement early on Tuesday. Hichilema wins outright with 61.4% of the more than 5 million votes cast. He polls 2,965,326 votes. His closest rival, opposition leader Brian Mundible, scores 1,856,217 votes. Commission chairperson Wangala Zalumis declares Hichilema the president-elect. The result follows a closely watched election in which vote counting was temporarily suspended after attacks on some polling officials and reports of stolen ballot papers. Several opposition figures were arrested on election night. Mundubile says police raided his home. Authorities accused the detained opposition leaders of posing a threat to state security. The opposition rejects the claim and described the arrest as an attempt to immediate political rivals. Despite the tensions, the Electoral Commission says the final result reflects the will of Zambian voters and that Hichilema has secured a clear mandate for another term. Oil prices rise on Tuesday as hopes of a deal to end the Middle East conflict fade. Brent crude climbs 1% to $91.76 a barrel. U.S. West Texas Intermediate also gains 1% to $85.24. The increase follows Iran's decision to adopt a more offensive stance and the United States ruling out an extension of a ceasefire arrangement. Progress on peace talks and the resumption of normal oil tanker traffic through the Straits of Hormuz remain stalled. A project-style strike, a vessel leaving the waterway in the latest disruption to shipping. For Nigeria, the combination of higher crude prices and rising production could improve government revenue and foreign exchange earnings. The country's average daily output reaches 1.505 million barrels in July. And in sports, the Nigeria Football Federation has ordered the Super Falcons technical crew to step down with immediate effect. The executive committee announces the decision on Monday. No specific reason is given for the directive. The technical crew is led by head coach Justin Madugu. All members of the coaching and backroom staff are affected. The move follows Nigeria's early exit from the Women's Africa Cup of Nations and the subsequent failure to qualify for the 2027 FIFA Women's World Cup. The Super Falcons were eliminated at the quarter-final stage by Cameroon. They later lost 2-1 to South Africa in the African playoff. Madugu had been part of the technical crew since November 2021 and later became head coach. The NFF has not yet announced a replacement or the next technical structure for the team. And that's News Radar for this hour. I'm Victoria Ogudende. Thank you for watching.